Radio Odin presents Dragon Slayer Azeviche, The Chronicles of Oluf. Chapter 16, Part 3, by Silvio Spati. The girl was covered in blood from head to toe, General, sir, Alice, the secretary, said, fixing him with a stern look through her glasses. Can't you see what this is, Alice? This is some kind of prank she's fallen for, obviously orchestrated by her new classmates. We even encourage this kind of action on the first day of school, he continued, rambling on. It serves to cement these new bonds of friendship. I rescued her from a pool of dragon blood that she was drowning in, Kevin exclaimed, slamming his fist against the desk. Papers, pens, and notebooks scattered from the impact. What part of dragon blood and burnt-out corpses don't you understand? Corpses, he said, panic overtaking him as his fingers released the sheet of paper, moving aimlessly through the air. I was about to tell you about the corpses, General, Alice stuttered. But then... The General froze, never having had to deal with a situation like this before. Then you have 2 dead students. 2 dead soldiers, if you prefer, Kevin shouted at him. We scrubbed the girl with creolin, soap, bleach, and washed her with jets of water, sir, Alice explained, her voice trailing off in embarrassment. Well, we couldn't save that beautiful long hair. Almost everything. She was interrupted by a knock on the door. Alice opened the door, and Azeviche entered with her head lowered. Her once beautiful flowing locks had been shorn short, resembling a boy's haircut, a silent testament of the ordeal she had endured. Her face contorted, and the tears she had held inside for all this time cascaded down her rosy cheeks. She hugged Kevin, her savior, on a subtle impulse. Kevin hugged her, gently stroking her hair. Little miss, you have a lot of explaining to do, General Roderick said, adjusting his glasses while combing his hair with his fingers. How many students were there with you? He asked tentatively, almost recklessly. You don't even know how many soldiers you have in your rooms? And you consider yourself a general? Kevin barked his dissatisfaction. I should rip these chevrons off your uniform, he said, approaching the arrogant general. The confronted General Roderick, Azeviche, and Alice exchanged anxious glances. Azeviche clung to Greenberg, her eyes wide with trepidation, while Alice's expression mirrored a mix of concern and uncertainty in the face of the escalating tension. And what do you think would give you the right to do this without being arrested, Roderick nodded with his nose at Kevin. A mere idler, why not say a stranger, and after all, what are you doing wandering around these parts? Don't you have anything better to do? From the height of his pride, the general began to collect the sheets of paper scattered across the table, gathering them together with small, deliberate taps. The red-haired giant, however, lost all his patience. He grabbed the general by the collar, leaving Roderick in disbelief at the scene unfolding before his arrogant eyes. Azeviche, it's best if you wait outside, Alice requested gently. Azeviche nodded, her eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and concern before she quietly left the room, closing the door behind her. Now you will listen to me, General, Kevin began, his tone firm. You have 2 girls who were killed by a dragon. Another, almost drowned in blood, and another is missing, possibly kidnapped, he asserted, giving voice to the pent-up emotions he had suppressed. What are you going to do about this? He pointed a finger at him. I'll have to inform the families about the deaths, he replied, curling his lips. Azeviche will continue her training as usual, and the parents will be notified of the disappearance of... He searched among his useless papers to find the name of the missing girl. Hai Yun, Kevin said, leaning on the table again. Hai Yun! Roderick's eyes widened with astonishment. Hai Yun is missing, "I'll take Azeviche with me," Kevin said authoritatively, his fist still on the desk. "I will never allow one of our students to escape, accompanied by—" Roderick's gaze, astonished, measured Kevin from top to bottom. But in the end, "Who are you?" he asked with a look of disgust. "My name is Kevin Greenberg." Suddenly, Roderick's blood ran cold, and words failed him. "The coward?" "Measure your words, Roderick. I'm already running out of patience." "The girl is my daughter," he said, his eyes furrowing. "Impossible." Roderick took a small key from his pocket to open one of the desk drawers. He retrieved a large black book, dipped his index finger in his wet tongue, and ran through the pages of the book. His fingers moved quickly, line by line, in search of a name. "Ah, here," he said with a smile. "The girl is my daughter," he said, his eyes furrowing. "Impossible." Roderick took a small key from his pocket to open one of the desk drawers. He retrieved a large black book, dipped his index finger in his wet tongue, and ran through the pages of the book. His fingers moved quickly, line by line, in search of a name. "Ah, here," he said with a smile. "Who do you take me for? I'm not an idiot like you think. Marcus and Rona Abbey are the girl's parents." He slammed the book shut. "She won't leave here." "I'm not going to explain my life to you. I'm just going to take my daughter and go," Kevin said, spinning on his heels. When his hand touched the doorknob, General Roderick quickly pressed a button on the old intercom and, in an authoritative voice, said, "Security to my room now." Kevin left the office as soldiers with clanking boots arrived to arrest him. Their presence loomed heavily, casting a foreboding shadow over the room. "Leave him alone!" Azeviche's anguished cries resonated, and she clung desperately to him. "Don't leave me here, Mr. Kevin." Alice stepped forward, her demeanor a mix of gentleness and determination as she held Azeviche, ensuring she wouldn't follow Kevin. On the floor, Azeviche's sobs filled the room, her pleas echoing. Kevin knelt beside her, his voice low and soothing as he promised to be there for her. "Pack your stuff. Meet me at the back of Camp B. It's not hard to escape from here. I'm going to be waiting for you beyond the walls of Camp Quasifinger." He whispered words of hope in Azeviche's ear, a beacon of reassurance in the face of uncertainty. As Kevin was escorted away from the Quasifinger training camps, they passed by a group of guards in the process of accompanying Dante, the runaway boy, to the general's office. The sight of Dante, recently recaptured, stirred a mix of reactions among the onlooking students. "Look, there's that boy Dante. I told him not to run again, see what happened," Robert Luckyfeets remarked to his fellow trainees, his voice a blend of concern and curiosity. "I think I'll follow him," Robert declared, his determination evident on his face. "I want to see how this unfolds." One of his roommates, a bit more cautious, offered a word of warning. "I wouldn't advise that," one of his roommates cautions. "You will get in trouble." However, Robert's growing fondness for Dante and his lingering concerns about Azeviche's welfare motivated him to proceed. He hoped to cross paths with her in the labyrinthine corridors, for it had been some time since they last communicated. Robert arrived just in time to witness Dante being escorted away by Secretary Alice. She was still speaking quietly to Azeviche. "Go back to your room and don't discuss this with anyone," Alice advised with a somber tone. "Robert!" Jed exclaimed with joy, embracing him as though they hadn't seen each other in years. It was a clear sign for Luckyfeets that something grave had transpired. Jet, typically unshakable, appeared disturbed. "What happened to your hair? Why are you crying?" Robert inquired, his concern evident. "Is it because Dante was recaptured again?" "No," Azeviche began to explain, her words tumbling out in a rush. The sorceress's daughter took us to the forest for our initiations. Instead, we were led to a cave where a colossal red dragon was held captive by its head. A dragon within our lands? Robert gasped, incredulous. Of course, the dragon that Halvhar used to escape, Robert clarified. That's just a part of it, Azeviche continued, her voice lowered. Hai-Yun took us there with the intention of killing me. Robert's eyes widened. Pink and Piggy were incinerated by the dragon, and Hai-Yun and her companions are missing. I fell into a gigantic hole filled with blood and would have died if it weren't for Mr. Kevin saving me. She continued the explanation, leading Robert away from the general's room. Is Hai-Yun just following her mom's orders? Lucky Feets asked. Maybe, but she's also got this sadistic streak. She's just plain evil. I'm going to escape this place, and you're coming with me. Mr. Kevin will be waiting for us outside the walls. You're crazy, Vici, Robert said, trying to convince her. Look at Dante. He tried to escape many times. Everyone gets recaptured easily. It won't be difficult if we have an expert with us, she said, putting her arm around Robert's shoulders. This boy, Dante, he has been recaptured several times. He knows several ways to get out of here. I'm almost sure he lets himself get recaptured because this is all just a game for him. Azeviche's voice sounded more determined now, and her tears had dried. They continued their conversation in the hallways, where the noise from other students in the corridors drowned out their words. Thank you for listening to the Chronicles of Oluf. Please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications.